Sit down on the small bench, pull the curtain shut behind you, feed the bill into the slot, and listen to the machine swallow it with a click. That means you have exactly 4 photos to take and no way to do them over. The light inside is greenish. The seat is too low or too high. The mirror on the inside of the curtain shows your hair doing something you didn't notice 5 minutes ago. And on the wall in front of you, a small red number begins to count down. 5, 4, 3. You don't know what your face is going to do. This was the photo booth. And for almost 100 years, it was everywhere. Most people didn't notice when it disappeared. They just walked past a wall one day in an arcade or a mall or a movie theater and realized the booth that used to be there was gone. Let's go back to what it actually felt like. You are 17 years old. You and your best friend are at the mall on a Saturday. You have $8 between you, and a photo booth sits in the corner near the food court with a curtain that doesn't quite reach the floor. You both pile in. There's barely room for 2. Your friend is half in your lap. The bench is sticky. The whole booth smells faintly of chemicals and old vinyl. The countdown starts. You make a normal face for the first one. You make a weird face for the second one. By the third one, you are both laughing so hard you cannot remember what the photo is supposed to look like. And for the fourth one, the last one, you do something neither of you planned. Then you wait. For 4 full minutes, the booth hums. Something mechanical happens inside the wall. You can hear chemicals moving. A small fan whirs, and then the strip drops. Out of a slot on the side of the booth, into a small metal tray. Warm, slightly damp. 4 black and white photos stacked on top of each other, still smelling like the inside of the machine. You pull it out. You cut it in half with scissors borrowed from a Hot Topic. Your friend takes the top 2. You take the bottom 2. And those small strips of paper become somehow more important than almost any other photograph either of you will ever take. You won't know for years. Here's a number that captures how big this once was. At its peak, in the mid-1990s, there were over 20,000 photo booths operating across the United States, in malls, arcades, movie theaters, airports, train stations, restaurants, and bars. They generated millions of strips every single year. Verify photo booths weren't a niche thing. They were everywhere people gathered. The same was true in Britain, in Canada, in Australia, in every country where shopping malls existed. The booth in the corner with the curtain that didn't quite reach the floor was a fixture of public life. And the strips themselves became their own private economy. People kept them in wallets, tucked them into the corners of bedroom mirrors, taped them to the inside of school lockers, pasted them into yearbooks, mailed them to friends in other states, slipped them into letters to soldiers stationed overseas. A photo booth strip was small, specific, deeply personal. It said, "I was here with this person on this day, and we were laughing." It got worn at the edges. It got folded into a wallet and slowly faded over months until the faces became ghosts, and nobody minded. That was part of it. The first photo booth was built in 1925 by a Siberian immigrant named Anatol Josepho. He set it up on Broadway in New York City. He called it the Photomaton. Within 6 months, 280,000 people had used it. People lined up around the block. The wait was sometimes 3 hours long. Verified Josepho had figured something out that no one before him had figured out. He had taken the entire process of photography, the camera, the chemicals, the developing, the printing, and stuffed all of it inside a single wooden box that anyone could operate by themselves. You sat down. You put in a quarter. 8 minutes later, a strip of 8 photos came out. For 1925, this was almost magic. A photograph used to require a photographer. Now it required a curtain and a quarter. Anatol Josepho sold the patents 2 years later for $1 million, an unimaginable sum in 1927. He used the money to retire and donate to charity. By the time he died in 1980, the invention he had built was sitting in almost every mall in America. For 70 years, the photo booth was a fixture. It survived the Great Depression. It survived the introduction of the home camera. It survived the Polaroid. It survived the camcorder. It survived the disposable camera at every wedding in the 1990s. It survived because nothing else did what it did. A home camera gave you photographs of an event. A photo booth gave you photographs of yourselves. Two people jammed into a small space looking at a mirror, deciding in real time how they wanted to be remembered. That was different. And for almost a century, nothing replaced it. Until something did. The end did not come from a single moment. It came from a slow, layered shift. The first crack appeared in the late 1990s, when chain malls began removing photo booths to make room for more profitable rentals. A photo booth took up 16 square feet of floor space and generated maybe $40 a day. A cell phone kiosk could generate 10 times that. The booths started disappearing one at a time. A mall in Ohio, a movie theater in California, a train station in Boston. Nobody made a public announcement. The booths just weren't there anymore. Then, in 2007, the iPhone arrived. And within 5 years, the entire premise of the photo booth had been replaced by something every teenager carried in their pocket. A phone could take a self-portrait. A phone could take 4 self-portraits in a row. A phone could apply filters, adjust the lighting, retake the shot as many times as the user wanted, and post the result on the internet within seconds. The photo booth could do none of those things. The booth gave you 4 photos, no retakes, no filters, no edits. The booth gave you whatever your face actually did in those 4 seconds. And in a world where every photograph was suddenly retakeable, infinitely adjustable, and instantly shareable, the booth started to feel slow. So they came out one by one. Some were sold to collectors, some were scrapped. A handful were kept by nostalgic mall owners who couldn't bear to throw them away. By 2015, finding a working photo booth in the United States had become a small adventure. By 2020, there were estimated to be fewer than 1,000 traditional chemical process photo booths left in operation in the country, from 20,000 to 1,000 in 25 years. Verify. The booth wasn't killed, it was replaced. But what replaced it wasn't really the same thing. This was never really just about a strip of 4 photos. It was about sitting in a small box with someone you cared about, pulled close by the size of the bench, by the curtain, by the way the booth forced you to be physically near another human being. It was about the 4 seconds of not knowing what your face would do. It was about the weight, the mechanical hum, the chemical smell, the strip dropping into the tray, still warm. It was about cutting it in half with scissors, about giving 2 photos to someone else and keeping 2 for yourself, about the fact that a strip of paper printed inside a machine in the corner of a food court would somehow outlast the relationships, the friendships, the years. It was about taking a photograph you could not retake. A generation of people grew up never knowing what that felt like, never knowing what it meant to look at a photo of yourself and not be able to delete it, to be stuck with the version of your own face that the machine happened to capture. That, more than anything, is what disappeared. Photographs of ourselves became infinite, adjustable, disposable. The phone in your pocket has probably taken 1,000 photos of your face, and you have probably deleted most of them. But somewhere, in a drawer or a shoebox or the back of an old wallet, you might still have a strip. 4 small black and white photos, slightly faded, cut crooked by a pair of borrowed scissors 20 years ago. And if you ever sat down on that small bench and pulled the curtain shut and watched a red number count down to a photo you could not retake, you remember something that was once completely ordinary and now is gone. If you ever took a photo booth strip, we want to hear about it. Where was the booth? Who was with you? Do you still have the strip? Did you cut it in half and give the other half to someone you don't see anymore? Leave it in the comments. Every single one gets read. And if this kind of storytelling means something to you, please like this video and subscribe. It's how we keep making these. We'll see you in the next one.